Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your girl Shannon at Can We Talk Sports. I am here with my host
Kawashika. How are
and
y'all?
Karen.
y'all. I've been really trying to work with her intro.
I have been too. Can you help me, please?
Kawasaka, can you? Okay, listen, we're gonna do this again. All right, so Kawasaka, you open up now. Let me see what you got.
Kawashika.
Um,
Hey,
Yes,
this is
guys.
your Derek. Okay, go ahead, Kawashka.
Okay. Yes. Sorry.
all right, here we
I'm
go. All
just
right, ready? Here we
go
go.
ahead,
Go,
Shannon.
no, you go. I want y'all to open up. Let's go. Let's get it. Come on, you can do it.
Thank you guys for joining the Can We Talk show. We are with my co-host.
Hey, it's Karen.
And
What's up, y'all? It's Shannon. What's going on?
your
Okay,
girl
y'all did it.
Kawashika.
See, y'all did it. Karen, we gotta work on it. We gotta work on it.
I know.
You gotta work on it. All right. So what's up, ladies? What you guys got going on?
Oh God.
You
What
sound
do we
like
have
me.
going? What do we have going on? There's so many things going on. Black
What?
Lives Matter.
Okay, it was another shooting. I
Right.
I'm just like, oh my God. And then they showed today how it started out nonviolent. They were talking and all of a sudden it ended up escalating. I'm just like, my God. That man had 4 kids.
Mm.
I
Mm.
just
So
don't
was
know.
this the So was this the young man in Atlanta?
Yeah,
Right? Yeah,
yeah.
I heard about that. Yeah, it's so sad. So it's like I don't have like they don't care. Like we're gonna continue to do whatever we want to do. It's a statement to me. It's a statement.
Yeah. I was just like, why do we have to shoot to kill? Why not
Right.
just shoot to injure? And I went to my husband wanted me to go and practice the gun at the gun range. And the guy behind the counter, he was like, if you're gonna get a gun, you have to have the mindset that you're gonna shoot to kill. And I was like, oh no, that's okay. That's okay. I won't get a gun because I'd be like, that's somebody's baby. I just can't do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
the instinct should come in though. Like it should be taught or you train. Like you got, it's maybe it's one, two, three, or maybe it's on two, not just bam on one, you know. But an instinct should just come in your mindset. Now, of course, if you in that situation where you gotta shoot,
Okay.
come on out of here. You are trained. So for me, I think they're intimidated about what's going on in today.
Oh,
So
did
I
you-
think
oh,
that's
okay.
part of it. Yeah, that's just part of but at the same time, they still making a statement, you know, and it's sad to say that. But here's the thing, guys. Like we can't be so emotional because like when you watch that stuff, I mean, do you have those emotions, but it's like don't let it drain you because it will drain you. Like literally.
Yeah.
You got to get off of social media type thing. Like, I can't watch it no more. I can't because
Yeah.
it keeps coming. I mean, it's nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, is she freeze on us?
Yeah, she's been freezing. Oh
No,
no.
no, no, no. I just push.
Oh,
No, I just
I
push
just saw
heavy.
the heads pose, and I just thought, all right. So, um, I'm like Osaka. I veer away from watching social
Yeah.
media. I just pray, have
Hmm.
a heart to heart with my kids, and just that's it. I just veer from watching social media. I know I've heard people say, and I will only say this: I know I heard people say when you don't say nothing, then you're a part of the problem, which I don't think that's fair. Um, I get
No,
in my
that's not
quiet.
true.
I get in my quiet time with God.
Mm,
That's
Um,
right.
I've learned that silence is strength,
Right.
and I wrote a
That's
post
true.
about it because when a king gets ready to go into battle, and I've watched so many movies like that, right? And even if you just read the Bible, and I was telling my husband, I said, let me tell you something. If Satan would have known God's plan with Jesus, he would have never took him to the cross,
mm,
right? If he would have had a clue what Jesus dying on the cross was going to do, like God didn't show his hand, right? He had a plan in motion and he carried it out, right? So I learned that. I was like, man, God, you didn't show your hand at all. You didn't even give a clue. Even when, and I'm just saying this, even when Jesus would go up to pray, he didn't even take the disciples with him. He didn't even know their conversation, right? So I'm like, that's me. You don't know my prayer, my conversation with God, right?
mm,
So just because if I'm not voicing doesn't mean I don't care. Me and God got this thing because sometimes God will tell me, don't say nothing. I need to talk to you. And I'll
mm,
be like, all right. And so my prayer time and my crying out in my prayer time is me doing something. So that's just you hear a lot of people and at first I was getting mad. I was like, well, how can you say that? Just because you're not praying, not saying nothing. No, God is strategic. And I'm
Right.
like, he'll tell me what to say to the kids. He'll tell me, but
Right.
it's just like, mm-mm.
I think
And
that's just a part of the body of Christ, how we all have a purpose. And so you have those who are the prayers, the intercession. You have those who are the ones at the feet that are out doing the marching. You have all the different parts to make up the body that that works on this whole
mine is in
situation.
prayer. Mine has, and it's always been like that. I've seen God just maneuver in my quiet time. So, and I get quiet. I
Yeah.
get real quiet. And I learned that because even if my dad being in the military, right? So I learned a lot of things. So even then, they watch, right? Like they don't show hands. They get quiet. They take notes. You know what I'm saying? Even when you watch spy movies, they got somebody sitting in a corner watching, taking notes, right? And so for me, that's me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, God's like, watch this. Okay, pay attention to this. Okay,
Yeah.
now make sure this is real. Now research this. Ask these kind of questions. That's our conversation. And
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing. And so I'll be like, oh, okay, that wasn't, oh, I see what you was, I see where that came from. And that's just, you know,
Yeah. And
so
for us, we work on it as far as a community level. Our chief of police, he comes to do town hall meetings, and he comes and he goes to the school and he starts to talk to the kids as far as how to act, how to behave or what to do when when a police officer stops you, and just, kind of deal with it at the community level and building that relationship. So
yeah.
it's just I don't know. It's
You're
just
right. Everybody have a different role, and I'm with Shannon. Like when I seen people saying that, no, because I remember when George Floyd, and I actually at first when I seen the video, I really passed it. Then that third day, number 3, I watched it. When I finished watching that video, I cried out. I
mm,
wept. I
mm,
wept, and I couldn't stop. And guess what? God had me praying for the officer. I know that's
mm,
hard to believe, but I wept. Not no just crying. It was a weeping.
yeah,
So we're not silent. trust and believe that. And we have a voice. Trust and believe that. And so it's just different roles. Like even my son, like in Colorado, they did a protest out there, and it was a peaceful, but he spoke. He was he spoke loud and clear, and it was just so amazing. So everybody do have a different role, and us being moms, and we have Black sons, of course, we're praying on a whole different level. I'm sorry, no,
but you're right, different level. But Kawasaka, the thing about it is this: we always be praying because we understand spiritual. Yes. It don't even have to be this situation. Our sons, our daughters deal with so much, especially being athletes. You got women you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? They come across so much stuff. They got drugs they come across. So we're always praying. It's not just on this. It's a prayer of protection across the board, period. Right? Like I'm telling you, they get out there, the drinking, the driving, the women, they being exposed to the drug life, the fast life. We're constantly covering them from day one.
You're right about it. So it's already in our belly.
It's already in us because that's just in us. Yeah. That's just like, you know what? Yeah. And even my daughter, I have to cover her on another way. Yes. She's ready to go off to college. So I'm like, okay, Lord, so it's just a constant, we're always praying, period.
Yeah. The life of a mom.
Yeah, they right. And then here's the thing, Shannon, they don't really want to hear us. They really don't.
They don't get me speaking
in
tongues. So
God has to put us in a place. Yes,
that's right.
He has to put us in a place because we're strong and we're bold and literally we can come out, another way. We have that authority. But when it's time, when he say speak those things that are not, when he say decree a thing,
it the atmosphere.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So trust what we do. What we might not do it publicly, but we're doing it in private. Trust and believe that.
Listen, let me tell you something. Speak it all to the atmosphere. Okay, don't get me started on that because I was up this morning. I said, I was on my face. I said, oh, and that, don't get me started.
Right.
So, yeah. So I like I said, I don't, for all those who say you don't say nothing, you don't know what's private. One thing God told me one day that changed my life forever. He said, because I was very gullible. Anybody who said God, I just thought they were saved, sanctified, with the Holy Ghost. I get excited. I'm like, well, Pastor so-and-so said, and Deacon, and I took everything for granted. I took them at their word, right?
Naive. Yeah.
So when I start seeing stuff, I said, and one day God said to me, he said, you do not know what people say and do to me behind closed doors. And I said, whoa.
We talked about that last week. Everybody that
God is not my life. Yeah. He said, you just because they say God in front of your face, he said, you do not know what they say to me and what they do to me behind closed doors.
And that's scary. That's scary. It's a difference if you're messing up. Let's kind of put that on the platform. If you're messing up and you're like, Lord, okay, help me in this area. But then you got those that I don't care. But then I'm still saying, God, I don't care what I'm gonna do. What I want to do. It's a difference. It's a big difference. So yeah. But I said
it's
that
last week or
2 weeks ago. There's a lot of people are saying God, but they don't believe in Jesus. And
that's right.
And so that's why you got to discern. And you're right.
You got to discern and know. It's a personal relationship. So you don't know my relationship. So anyway, so we're getting ready to move on. But yes, everybody, Chris made it to Dallas, Texas.
Chris is there.
In Dallas. Yes, Jordan went to pick him up at the airport. So
that's good.
He is coming here. I'm super excited. So tomorrow they all getting ready to hit training. And so, yeah.
That's good.
That's somebody else eating.
Right.
Well, God will supply.
I'm playing. I love it. I love it. It's as long as I know, right? As long as they're doing what they're supposed to do, and staying focused, I don't mind. It's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
anyway, okay. So this show right here, I need to say something, Coach Lynn. I am from Oklahoma. My kids went to Jinx, so I don't understand the DeSoto and the Cedar Hill situation. But I do understand the Jinx and the Union and the rival back and forth. So I guess I could be on Cedar Hill. Well, I don't know.
Well, you
have to,
could be on there this year.
I could be on there just
Right.
for the show because I do have to do the show and I want to keep my job.
Right. Beltline. It's the what is it called? The
Battle of Beltline.
Battle of
Battle
the
of the Beltline.
Beltline.
I want to keep my job, Coach, but I'll just kind of give you a ha on this. So anyway, we'll be right back after this with Coach Lynn from Cedar Hill High.
A North Texas football coach.
Carlos Lynn, the head coach at Cedar Hill High School, and his family have endured an off-the-field battle to save his son's life. Maria Guerrero has their story.
Kickoff.
As the minutes pass,
It's just first possession.
Coach Carlos Lynn knows the value of every second.
You want to get off to a good start.
Time in his household is especially precious.
When adversity comes into your personal space, you learn to cherish that time. You learn to really embrace every moment and make everything count.
When it comes to his son Caleb,
If we looked at it in terms of Caleb's life, it's just the first quarter. It's just been a rough one.
in his 13 years of life, Caleb has faced the same diagnosis twice.
Being diagnosed at the age of 8 and not really knowing what's going on and then battling through that, being cancer-free for a moment, and then it comes back.
Rhabdomyosarcoma, a tumor of the soft tissue and muscle, rare but beatable.
I'm just happy to be alive. People go through this stuff. Some people actually die from it. Some people can be affected by it by their life, and I'm just not that one.
He has one more chemo treatment this week, Thursday and Friday, and he's done.
The Lynns are moving forward.
I told him he needs to hurry up and get back to school so he can get him a date for the 8th grade prom. We got to be working on a date now, so it's very important, very important.
I have so much life ahead of me.
No doubt. There's a lot of game left, indeed. Yes.
On to the second half of life.
We got 7 minutes left in the first quarter.
In Cedar Hill, Maria Guerrero, NBC5.
What a sweet that date. Caleb loves playing baseball and video games. He hopes to attend LSU after high school.
All right.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, welcome to the show.
Oh, my gosh.
Welcome.
Before we kind of jump right in, we want to play a game called Would You Rather?
Okay.
All right. I need my video, Karen. Where's my video?
Oh, let me give it to you.
Okay.
There it is. Right.
All right. I'm going to start off with the first question right here. If you could sing Would you rather sound like Mr. Biggs from Isley Brother or Charlie Wilson?
Oh,
Ooh, man, that old Mr. Biggs, that falsetto. I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Biggs right there. I like Tyler, but I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Biggs.
All right, Karen, you got one?
Okay. Now, would you rather be forced to sing along or dance on every song you hear?
Probably sing along. I'm an adequate dancer, but not enough to dance alone.
Okay, okay. My last one. All right, Coach, would you rather drive a 2020 convertible Camaro or a 1967 convertible Camaro?
Ooh,
ooh.
Lord. If I get in any Camaro, I don't know if I'll be able to get out. So low to the ground, but I probably have to go with the 2020 version.
What? You not old school?
Uh,
Oh, Coach, I was on your side with Cedar. I might have to jump over there with the soda now, Coach.
I know
Oh,
it's a classic though. It's a classic.
it's a oh man, that just kind of hurt right there. I got to think about it now. Let me have a moment. All right, so Karen, I want to let you go ahead and jump right in since this is this.
Coach, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. I just appreciate you for coming in the lion's den with us.
Hey, I walked in and with gasoline underwear, I guess.
The soda, you.
Okay,
Hey.
I got you, Cedar Hill for this. So, but after that, I got to go back because I want to keep my job.
I understand. I
No.
appreciate the look.
All right.
So, hey, what's going on? Have you guys started back practicing? What's going on the football field?
This week was the first week that we were allowed to go back after COVID-19, and I must say it's been a blessing. Our guys have been chomping at the bits, ready to return and ready to get back to some form of normalcy. We've had an outstanding week this week of trying to create an atmosphere to where we can get these guys, back into football shape and to hopefully, get ready to start a good 2020 season.
So since coming back and since we've been, in for 3 months, is it going to be more like everybody has the opportunity to compete all over again because you haven't seen them? Nobody's been lifting weights. I mean, of course they might have said they've been lifting weights, but now that everybody's back, is it going to be like getting to know the players all over again, or how are you going to assess that?
Well, to our surprise, a lot of our guys were in fabulous condition. And I must say, that we were, that was almost, kind of the talk of the week among the coaches was, how our guys looked. We were just, man, look at so-and-so, man, he lost weight. Look, so-and-so, he look like he's stronger. So, that's kind of been a great surprise, having our guys kind of come in ready to go. There wasn't a lot to do, during this, coronavirus, quarantine time. So it looked, just from first looks, looked like our guys did an outstanding job of trying to commit to staying in some semblance of shape and being ready when we got the call to go back. And I must say they were.
Awesome. Awesome.
So now during this situation, how did you guys work things out before? I mean, how did you keep? Were you doing like FaceTime setups to keep in contact? Were you sending them workout plans and things like of that sort?
Yes, ma'am. We tried to utilize every medium that we had to communicate with the guys. Our position coaches did an outstanding job of maintaining that contact, which we always do year round. But it was ultimately, vitally important to do that now during this quarantine time. And of course, we use Google Hangouts to have our position meetings and our team meetings, and just maintain, proper communication and anything that was going on. We kind of passed it through the position coaches, and the position coaches, made sure that each position was well aware of what was going on. And that was our mainstream of information, just so we could break it up and we didn't have to have huge meetings. We just broke it down into positions, and then every coach was responsible for their positions.
So basically, a lot of the football coaches we've interviewed and talked to you, everybody's kind of done the same thing when it comes to getting through the proper channels to everybody, things that need to be done, whether it's through like you said, the position coaches or the athletes. Now, during this time, have you noticed like any of your athletes were dealing with, I don't want to say depression, but just like mental different, what's the word, what I want to use? Go ahead, Karen.
Just the distance of,
Yes.
not being at school, and the fact that, if they were at school, they were accountable to the coaches, they had condition, they had workout, and so since they've been away from that, have you seen anybody struggle with
Struggled.
whether they still want to play football? It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind type of thing.
Well, Karen, football around here is pretty big on these kids' play. So it was more of an excitement. It was more of, man, I am so happy to be back with my brothers and to be back with my team, and to see my coaches, and to get to walk back through those doors of Longhorn Stadium, and get on that turf and run around again. And I think our kids seen it as more as a blessing. It's a blessing that we're able to get back and come back, and the good Lord allowed us a second chance. So
yeah,
it was more of that sentiment than anything else.
So,
Okay.
a lot of times we were, I saw in the news
I got a
media
question.
talking about, about the young people didn't take it serious what was going on with COVID-19. So do you kind of like have those conversations with the boys as far as really taking serious, as far as wearing their masks when they're out and that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. We try to reiterate all of the health guidelines that have been laid out for us. It's teenage boys are hard headed, and they have Superman complex and things of that nature. Hopefully they take heed, because that over 100,000 people dying is real, and they must consider all of the risk that's involved. The thing that we really talk about is that the protection and the mandates that have been set upon us is really for each other. It's for your teammates. It's for the people that are around you. So it's a selfless act. It's taking care of the people that are around you. It's taking care of your teammates. It's taking care of your parents and siblings when you go home, that you don't bring nothing back to them. So we try to coach them up on being selfless, and taking care of one another by each and every individual doing what they're supposed to do.
Corsica, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So yeah, my question was, so during the quarantine, was most of the student athletes, was they working out on their own, or was y'all pushing them? Like, was they self-motivated to go out and work out on their own, even though they wasn't able to do it with their team?
Right. It's always competition. Especially in the in our areas, Southwest Lancaster, Duncanville, Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto. It's always competition on the football field. So these guys, they knew, and we would when we were cueing them and letting them know that there's going to be a time when they say it's time to go, and we pose them with the question, will you be ready? Will you be ready when the UIL said this is the date that we're going to go back? So we tried to challenge them in that fact, to whereas they had to be self motivated. We sent them things. The UIL had a app called the Sports U. And they sent some performance course, sent some good workouts on that. We shared those things. And a lot of the kids, were still going to their trainers. A lot of kids were still, doing things that they had already been invested in as well. So it kind of worked out for us, And like I said, the guys came back in phenomenal shape.
All right, so let's get to this this distancing, right? So I was at my daughter's basketball practice because I want to understand how this is going to work for football. Because see, I need to yell. I don't want no mask on, coach. I'm being honest with you because you can't hear me with a mask on. I need to scream. I need you to hear my voice. So we was at my daughter's practice and we walked in and they take your temperature. And so they were out on the court practicing because they just went back. So I'm sitting on the bench and there's an X and then there's 6 feet, there's another X, right? And then there's 6 and then there's another X. So I'm sitting there looking at the bench like I didn't understand it because then on the court, everybody is touching each other. The girls are sweating. The coaches is, how you practicing up on them. And I'm looking at the bench. I'm like, how's this going to work for football? You know what I'm saying? When you get ready to go back, you need your crowd, right? Like it's the crowd, especially Karen. Karen got to be she got to be in the building, y'all, right? Like, see? So how is that going to work if you're like it's every other, every 4 or 5 seats? How is that? I don't understand that. How's that going to work for y'all?
Shannon, that's a great question, and I'm glad I'm not the one that's gonna have to try to figure it out. I got the for it. We'll be trying to get these guys ready to go and ready to play. But you're so right that in Texas high school football, the fans, the bands, the drill team, the cheerleading, all of those, people like the football game, but there are other parts of it as well that make it go. So I'm not sure how that's going to look like, what that's going to look like, and how that's going to be, mandated. Who's going to hold those people accountable to do that? Because I know our fans, they going, they like to get bunched up in there. Hopefully we'll be in a safer place in August, September, October, November than we are now. But who knows what that's going to look like. So.
Can you imagine your boy making a touchdown? Ain't nobody there cheering. You know how they got to do that? Whoa, and ain't nobody there. You just make the touchdown. You kind of looking around like, anybody gonna cheer? Like, are you playing basketball? You drop the 3, and you know how if you drop the 3, everybody go crazy, and you kind of looking around like, anybody gonna yell for me?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can't wear the mask. I gotta yell. I gotta say something. That mask on, you can't hear me. So. That'll be interesting how they do that. Go ahead, Karen.
It's going to be very interesting. So, Coach, now I know how DeSoto is building a program. Give me an insight of the program that you are building over there at Cedar Hill.
Wait, Coach. Don't tell her. Don't tell her, Coach. Don't tell her. They're going to go back and tell DeSoto, Coach, I got your back.
No.
I'm playing.
Coaches are the greatest stealers in the world. So there's nothing that I'm probably going to say that's revolutionary or earth-shattering. So to each his own. They have it. So,
go ahead.
But what we're trying to do at Cedar Hill, and what we've always tried to do, was to lead and guide our young men to having a championship mentality and mindset, for the rest of their lives. Not just for football, not just for Friday night. We want these guys to be champions no matter what. We want them to be champion husbands. We want them to be champion fathers. We want them to be champion citizens. And that's the goal of education with athletics. We don't believe that football, or we don't believe that things that those UIL things are extracurricular. We believe that they are co-curricular. They go right along with the educational process and the educational piece, and we utilize everyday life situations through the game of football to try to make these young men to be better, and we use every aspect of what we do and translate it to real life situations. And hopefully when they're finish with us and they leave Cedar Hill and they graduate and they go out into this world, that they will have seen success. They would have known what hard work is about, and they will understand that they have a responsibility not only to themselves and to their families, but to the communities in which they reside. So it's big picture for us. It's big picture, making sure that our young men are doing the right things at all times. And for teenage boys, that's hard to do. So that's why they have us. That's why they have coaches, and that's why they have people in their lives to try to mentor them and try to steer them in the right direction.
Wow.
That's good.
Okay. So with that being said, as far as building in, have you guys as coaches ever really had the heart to heart with your team as um, a plan B? Other words is, the reality is, and I know sometimes you don't want to have this conversation, but it has to be had. Everybody doesn't make the 1%. But there's other things that you can do or encourage them to get that degree and always have a backup plan of just in case, because the injury can take you out. um Again, everybody doesn't make the 1%. Is this something, or is this kind of conversation you guys have with your um young men?
Absolutely. Shannon, as you say that, that's our plan A. We don't have a plan B. Football is a privilege, not a right. Whether you're
Okay.
whether you whether you're playing, in high school or whether you're playing in college. When you go to the next level, the goal is to get that paper. The goal is to walk across that stage in 4 to 5 years, however long it takes. I don't care if it takes 6 or 7 years. The goal is to get across that stage, and that's what's going to enhance your quality of life as a person. That's what's going to take your family, to the next level. So we always preach education beats poverty. If you want to pull yourself out of a situation, then you have to educate yourself. You have to make sure that you give yourself the tools to make sure that you maintain a level of life that whatever it is that you want to have for yourself. It's going to be determined by how much education you have and what you put into it. So when we go in with a plan A, our plan A is if we step on a college campus, we graduate from that college campus.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
very good. Now, how does that carry over? Because
That's
I
good.
know you as a coach, I know you probably have what, 200 or 300 kids in your program. I know you get a mama or a daddy talking about playing time. And so we started our when we started going live, that was the first thing that we started talking about was bench warmers and talking about, your kid being playing on the bench, how that can turn around to motivate the player to, to compete. Now, how do we get that message over to the parents as far as education? That's the first thing that you guys are trying to mentor these men to be men, the next level in life. And it's not all about football, but it is. I mean, I may not have worded that question right. Shannon, you can help me with it.
I understand. I understand what you're trying to say. Football has always been a competitive sport, and you can only play 11 at a time. And that's why we have uh, off season, and that's why we have our boot camp phase. That's why we have our spring football phase, and that's why we have our summer workout phase. And we have all these different phases to help try to evaluate and help try to condition our kids to be the best that we can be. Now, the standard at Cedar Hill, we have 3 spots on that water tower that says state championships in football. So the standard in Cedar Hill is to try to win a state championship every year. Now, if a young man, falls short of that standard as far as being a starter or a contributor, then we have to sell them on being a part of a team. And I was fortunate to play on a state championship team in high school. way back in the 1900s, 1990. When chapter 15. And I tell the story that it didn't matter if you started or if you played or not. It was a little lady, a little white lady from the UIL. She went around there and she gave everybody a gold medal around their neck, whether you played or not. So we have to understand that sometimes your role is different on a team. Sometimes you're a part of that practice squad that helps that first team get a. If we don't have that, if we don't have those players, then it's going to be hard for the guys that actually play on Friday night to get a look. Football is it's an ultimate team sport, and there's not a whole lot of room for selfishness. So you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with your team if you don't meet the standard of where you are. Sometimes that's hard for a young man to swallow. Sometimes that's hard for a parent to swallow. But we try to have all our evaluation tools in place so that we can let them know, hey, this is where your son stands. And sometimes they don't like it, and but that's a part of it. And I always talk about this, like I said earlier, we want to relate real world things, even in football. Sometimes you don't like your status on your job, or you don't like your raise, or you don't like where you are. How are you going to deal with that when
That's
your
right.
when your supervisors tell you things that you really don't want to hear? So that's a part of that training as well. So I hope I answered your question.
You
Yeah,
did.
no, that's true
Yes,
because like you
awesome.
said, if your
Awesome.
boss overlook you for the position, what are you gonna do? Quit? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I mean there's
Right.
things to that, but you're trying to teach them again real world techniques through sports.
Right.
Believe it or
Absolutely.
not, it is. We talk about it
Right.
all the time. Everything is, competition. Whether you're in corporate America, you're
Right.
competing for the position. You know, showing up,
That's
being
right.
at practice on time, being a
Right.
team leader.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't get the position, if you don't get starter, are you still going to be a team player? Because they don't understand.
That's it.
Coaches watch all of it, right? So it's not just this part. It's like, okay, and sometimes I believe coaches will do it intentionally just to see how that person's going to react. And so it's like, okay, I sat him on the bench, but he didn't complain. He still showed
Right.
up. He still did this. I can count on him. And then they pull you in. So yeah, I'm for the bench warmers. Other words, if you put my child on the bench, then they got to
Mhm.
figure out how to get off.
Right.
I'm not gonna go to a coach and be like, "Why you pop my child on the bench?" You need to go to your child and ask them what did they do to get on the bench.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So
And then
that's my take
when
on
we talked about that, yes, when we talked about the bench warmers, remember, and Coach Lynn, you can confess to this conduct, conversation, character. What is your character? What's your conduct? What's your conversation?
it.
It
Right.
all plays on the football field as well. What are you doing when
Absolutely.
nobody's not watching? How's your character? When no one's not
Absolutely.
looking, your
Right.
conduct, you're losing, in your conversation. So that's a
Yeah.
nugget right there.
Yeah.
It plays on the football field as well in real life.
Right, because and
And yes,
sometimes you know what it do, it don't even have to be something they did on the field. It could have been a phone call the teacher called. Hey, so and so is acting up in class today.
That's
It don't
right.
even have to be that they didn't play. It could have been they was acting out in class, and coach like, all right, you're gonna get benched because you making us look bad. You know what I'm saying? So all right, coach. Now listen, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
All right.
What is the nicest thing you've said to a ref?
You know, I and I mean, you I'm not hard on officials. I'm not. I'm really not. I don't badger officials. I ask questions. Uh, I'm more. I attract more flies with honey. Okay. So I use a different approach. I'm not the irate coach. I'm not the I'm just not that guy. I don't like wasted emotion. Because a lot of times talking to officials, just like talking to this wall in my office. You're not gonna get anything from it. So you may as well try to soft shoe them, and hopefully down the line that'll carry some favor along the way. So I just never.
What?
Yeah.
Coach Lynn, Coach Lynn.
Did a good call.
Wait, Coach Lynn.
Oh,
Wait, that wasn't the photo. That wasn't the question, Coach Lynn. Now you done danced around the question, Coach Lynn. I said, what is the nicest? Huh? What's the nicest thing you've said to a ref?
Oh man, I don't know.
We get the coaches all the time with this one. They just like, one coach said, good game. Right. Other one coach said, what did he say? Was your ride over here nice? Did you have a nice ride over here?
I know it. How was that ice cold water we gave you in the locker room?
It gets the coaches every time we ask this question. They had to think about it and dance around the question. I said, that's not what I said. What's the nicest thing you said to them? And they all stuck. It's funny.
When we have that Beltline this year, and if I see some calls, I'm gonna say he's been over there talking nice to the referee. That's why they giving him them good calls.
Right. I'm gonna tell them throw them flags on Coach Matthews.
All right. So since we got on the battle of the Beltline, right? Okay, tell us, how did that name come about? Because like in Tulsa, it's Jinx and Union. It's called the backyard. Oh, I forgot. Okay, Jinx, don't get me. But the backyard something, right? You guys are the battle of the Beltline. How did you guys come up with that name?
Well, Cedar Hill and DeSoto is probably about 6 miles apart, and it's one stretch of street that separate us, and that's Beltline. And for years Cedar Hill, and this is before the state championships. Cedar Hill was almost like the little stepbrother to DeSoto, and we never could beat them. And then the tides kind of changed there around in the early 2000s. And it just kind of exploded into something that was, kind of bigger than life. And it doesn't matter if it's basketball, girls basketball, if it's at a track meet. Anytime Cedar Hill and DeSoto is facing off, it is monumental. And the football game is you just have to be there. The last couple ones, it's been crazy because it's been raining.
Yeah.
And year was, it was blistering cold, but boy, I tell you that no one left, no one, turned away from the game. It was so fun, to be a part. So it's a big deal, and we look forward to it every year.
Now, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and give you your surprise. Go ahead and roll that tape over there and give you your surprise. I'm at the breathe. Go ahead, Brian. Hit it.
I love you, boy. A Battle of Beltline win earns not only bragging rights, but a District of Doom championship.
We just came out to play Longhorn football.
We wanted to make sure that there was no confusion about who was the district champions of 7-6A. We've been talking about it all week. Our goal was to be unanimous, undefeated, and still undisputed.
Unblemished through district play and on an 8-game win streak. The red and white enter the playoffs red hot.
Our kids put it through. We're excited about it. It's an honor, and we look forward to representing the district in the playoffs.
The district playoff state. We finished the D. Now we got to get in this playoffs and go hard. This year, I promise you, we will not lose first round. We will make it past first round.
In his third season building a culture at Cedar Hill, head coach Carlos Lynn has faith in the troops he leads into the postseason.
We're gonna give out before we give up. We got some great kids do a spectacular job of trying to do what we're coaching to do. We try to be poised, try to be confident, try to be disciplined, and they do a good job of representing the brand of football that Cedar Hill likes to represent.
Nick Walters, the old coach.
So I give
Okay.
you your bragging rights. Go ahead and brag on the Cedar Hill. There you go. I
Did
bow
she?
to you.
Oh Lord, have
Y'all
All
mercy.
beat us. You got it.
Well,
Oh
hold on.
Lord.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait, Professor, hold
Wait a
on.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Listen. So do you remember what you coach at 2017? No, 2016. Was you the coach, Coach Lynn?
I got the job in 17. I got the job in 17.
Okay. Because we went all the way, right? Yes. DeSoto went
Mm-hmm.
all the way. That was my son last year, honey. He graduated in 2017, but baby, we came through that thing. They did that, and it was our first state. So I got to. We might have some Cedar Hill fans
Are we going to
watching.
have a battle of the Beltline on the show
We
right
got
now?
some.
Oh,
Listen. I
Lord.
have to. I told you. We be quiet, but it's some stuff I gotta say. So, but no, it was, man, when we, like you said, the battle of Beltline, awesome. I mean, I even remember
She's breaking up.
y'all
And she going.
beat us. Y'all beat us, but baby, when my son ran that 100-yard on y'all,
Oh, only on Madden Sports.
yes, honey.
See, look at they go to mama right there. See, Coach, I'm sorry, Coach. See here.
That's the mama
I
talk.
haven't been to a game, but I'm okay. We got look. The screen is split, so we got Battle of
I'm
the
back.
Beltline right here on Canvas Sports, right? Okay,
No,
so
I'm giving them the bragging rights because they beat us, and so they get to brag all year until we play them in November. So I'm letting him have his time.
All right
so
now.
Yeah.
I kind of we
Right.
almost time for the show to end, but I want us to kind of go back on the video, Coach, because I know we've talked about the your coaching the young men and everything, but your strength really comes from your fight for your son. And it's funny because this last video, the video she just showed, I don't know, for some reason I kind of saw that, right? Like your strength is really a fight for your son. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. No parent, ever wants to hear, those words that your child has cancer. That's that has, regardless to if it was your mother, your father, any loved one, when you hear that, your heart just sinks. And we heard those words twice with our son. And but I tell you, those that fight and that mindset that you have to have, as a parent going through that, it's unprecedented, and it makes you different. It makes you a different person. Your lens and how you look at life, your perspective, it totally changes. And our son, who he was 13 in that video. He turned 16 on this Tuesday. It's just been a monument of strength and faith and grit and everything that a father will want to see in his son. And he has definitely provided myself and my wife so much joy in how he has fought and how he has just proven that, when odds are against you, that you can win. And that's a testament to his faith. That's a testament to him. It's in it, and it was all him. When Caleb first got diagnosed, when he was 8 years old, Caleb was he was phenomenal. He would go through chemo and radiation, and at that time he was going to our church school, the Abach Children's College. And he would go to chemo, he would go to radiation, and I would drop him off at school. And he didn't miss a beat at 8 years old. And I wasn't going to tell him any different, but I was floored. I knew he was tired. I knew he was beat, but he did not want to miss. He just, it was just in him. That drive has just always been in him. He's always been that kind of kid. And he went through 40 the first time. He went through 46 weeks of chemo, and
Wow.
it was a test, and those things, they build your character, they build your faith like no other. I wouldn't want to put that on my worst enemy to have to go through that. But God chose us. He chose our family to
Mm.
go through that, and that's just what we did. We went through it, and we came out on the other side. So, man, it's a blessing. He has a lot to do with how we operate and how we move, just because we saw him fight for his life, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
And
good.
you can kind of hear that in your coaching. I know we've interviewed a lot of coaches, and but your fight is different. And so, like you said, you saw a strength in him at 8 that gave you a fight, even when you talk to your athletes, because it's like nothing is impossible. And if my son at the age of 8 can fight through this adversary, then that is minor. I hear on this field, like nothing is impossible. So you can tell your coaching is different than majority of coaches, because you have a different fight. So you have you have 2 fights. You have one on the field, and then you have another one you go home to. So with that,
Absolutely.
how has the team been rallying around you through this? Do they go, coach, you need a break, you need coach time, or how has it been for?
Well, the team and the community and my staff, throughout all this, has been great, because, when I first got the job, that was right at the time when I first came back to Cedar Hill in 2017. We had just got the news that his cancer had came back. So I was in the midst of transitioning, being a new head coach, and trying to find my footing there, and at the same time dealing with him. And I want to say that our administration and our community, and my staff, and these boys, this team, had truly rallied around us, and truly have been there, and in every time of need that we've had, they've been there every step of the way. So, my previous coaching stint was at Cedar Hill from 1998 to 2008, and I got my first head coaching job in '08. And but we never moved from Cedar Hill. We've always been here. This has always been home. So being home, going through that was truly special. And we're so thankful that we had some great people, and some great shoulders to lean on during our probably most difficult time.
That's good. That's very important. Coach, we talked to you about the boys having a backup plan, a plan B, and we've had some other coaches, and we asked them this question: what if there was no more sports? What is your backup plan? What would you be doing? What do you like to do other than sports?
Well, I'm a speaker. So I probably, when I was in the classroom, I taught public speaking. So that's probably what I would try to do. Some type of motivational speaking, some type of self help. Trying to be positive, trying to get people to excel in life. I think I'm a coach, even if it wasn't sports. I try to coach in every aspect. I'm a deacon at our church, so we coach. I coach Christian living. I coach all kinds of things. So I think those that will probably be the vein that will probably resonate with me the most, is trying to really be a speaker, and really try to get the most and the best out of people.
Well, this has been a
Yeah,
great
so that's
show.
purpose.
Yeah, purpose. This has been a great show. We've had the
Yeah.
battle of Beltline on Can We Talk Sports today. So, Coach, I'm gonna put you on the spot again.
Oh,
We leave. So, since you could not answer me, what is the nicest thing you've said to a ref? what is the craziest thing you've said to a ref?
I have. You know, are you out of your mind? That's probably about as far as I don't want to lose my deacon card on here.
That's right.
I knew that was
That's
coming.
right, Coach.
Coach, I was about to say, now look, you know you just
That's
said
right,
you out of your mind, bleep, 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 bleep. So,
Yeah,
but I
that's
knew,
right.
I knew you, right. He didn't want to lose his deacon card. All right, so we ain't gonna cause you to lose your deacon card. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
got people watching.
Right. But like I asked my kids, I was like, you be on the field cussing? My kid when he was in junior high. No, right into high school. I said, Jordan, you be on the field cussing? Yeah, Mama, they be cussing me out. I said, oh my God. So then I asked my daughter, right? Because she a girl. So I'll let it slide for the football because I know they be talking trash on the field, right? So my daughter, I was like, Jaden. She said, yes, Mom. I said, you be on the court cussing? Man, Mama, she be calling me and I'll be calling her. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I'm sitting there like, oh Lord, my child on the court cussing, y'all. But hey,
it's a different world out there now.
I know, it is a different world. I'll tell you what. So
it's a different world. And you can't tell, right? You can't tell that they doing all that talking on the field or on the basketball court. You can't tell they doing.
Nope. Said, oh my gosh. Yeah, so they be saying, I just all I could do was this. I didn't say a couple of them to the ref myself, so I'm all right.
I do it.
Right.
I said nice one.
Listen.
Where's your glasses? You can't see. No, I'm playing.
Right.
Yeah, so
we still gotta have some football refs on the show. We gotta hear their side of the
story. We gotta hear their side of the story. So
this side is gonna be totally different. I guarantee you.
It's gonna be completely different, right? So anyway, listen, Coach, this has been a great show. We will send prayers up for your son. But continue to fight. We see the fight. It's I can actually see both sides of it. And so to be 16 and continuing on, God's got a plan and a purpose. And his fight is making your family fight and bring together, see things differently. So that's going to be a powerful story to tell through the eyes of the coach.
Yeah, so, and let us know when he so he's past 8th grade. So when junior prom or that date or something you were saying you can't wait till you have that 8th grade date. So let us know so we can all just come and celebrate that. That'll be beautiful.
That's yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you for joining Can We Talk Sports. This has been great. We have had the Battle of the Beltline on the show. I was on Cedar Hill side for all you need to know. But then tomorrow I'm going back on DeSoto because I want to keep my job with Karen. So anyway, this is your girl Shannon, and I'm here with my host,
Kawashika.
And
I'm Karen. And Coach, you're welcome to come back. You're welcome to come back when the season starts. We'd love to have you back on the show.
Wait, we really gonna have a battle because we're gonna have you and the other coach. We're gonna split the screen.
Oh wow!
No, right? I know. Let me not start that, y'all. Not start nothing. So anyway, all right. So you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will be back Tuesday.
Yeah.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate
Bye.